Hey, well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you, excited to share the news with you. Not as excited about this report. Sometimes I've got to bring you bad news to expose the lies and the malfeasance of the Biden regime, and this is one of those reports. It is absolutely appalling. It is redonkulous, as they say. But real quickly, mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack will save you up to 66%. I just got this pet blanket so I could throw it on the seat, and then the dog could come with me and not get hair all over my seat. But I also have the pet bed, and she snores on it. She loves it. It's like the pillow. It's got that same kind of filling in it. The dog absolutely loves it, and I know we love our pets, okay? But we love people more, okay? So we're going to get into this report. This out of Just the News. John Solomon, Just the News, great follow, probably a site you want to bookmark, but exclusive. Despite southern border crisis, CBP agents asked to deploy to Europe for Ukraine conflict. Now, folks, if you guys didn't catch this story, within the last year, they were also asked to deploy to Afghanistan. For the second time in a year, the Biden administration is seeking to divert Customs and Border Protection officers from the southern border crisis to an overseas conflict, this time to help process people fleeing the Russian assault of Ukraine. People, pray for the people of Ukraine. But look, we have a real crisis on our southern border. A real, legitimate crisis. Trafficking, drugs, all this stuff is flowing across our border in vast numbers. He stopped the building of the wall, erects a wall around the Capitol, erects blast walls around the White House, and tells us walls don't work. Okay, this is a problem. And to divert our Customs and Border Patrol agents, many of whom are good conservative folks because they see the problems. And if you guys missed that video, they actually, the agents of the Customs and Border Patrol actually challenged the director in a meeting, and it got recorded on a cell phone. Anyways, it was really powerful, but that was a month ago. The news is so fast right now. The malfeasance so great. The complete not even malfeasance, corruption is on such a grand scale and on display. It's waking Americans up. I've got a good news report coming. Okay, I'll launch that later today, but right now I've got to cover this. In a memo sent Thursday morning and obtained by Just the News, CBP's Office of Field Operations sought volunteers willing to deploy immediately to Poland for Operation Ukraine support. The request comes 6 months after a similar effort to process Afghan refugees after the bungled U.S. exit from that country. You guys all remember that? Yeah, where we had Marines unnecessarily killed, where we had citizens left behind, where we left behind how many $1 billion worth of equipment so that Afghanistan could become basically the largest air force in the region with our Apache helicopters and everything else. If you guys missed, I did an interview with Colonel Waldron on that months ago. It was phenomenal. You got to check that out. I've got the entire interview on Locals because we also talked about some other things. So subscribe to lumberjacklogic.locals.com, but so you can see that entire interview. But I think it's up on Rumble too. Anyways, here we go. Afghanistan. Okay. The operation was sharply criticized Friday, the Afghanistan now we're talking about, by the Pentagon Inspector General for poor Defense Department vetting that allowed 50 Afghans with serious security risks to enter the United States. Now, do you know what that means, serious security risks? They're terrorists, people. They were allowed to enter the United States of America through their bungled process of admitting Afghan refugees into the U.S. And you guys saw the planes. You saw the... yeah, they didn't look... Yeah, just... I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words at the horror of the Biden regime. The Office of Field Operations is seeking volunteers to assist with the possible evacuation of U.S. citizens, lawful permanent residents, and their immediate family members from Ukraine, the memo sent to field operations executives. Eligible employees who volunteer for this situation may be selected to serve a temporary duty assignment in Poland to facilitate travelers for entry into the U.S., to include providing guidance and problems resolution to other government agencies. The memo said volunteers need to be ready to deploy within 2 to 3 days of selection and should plan for about a month's work overseas. It also offered a plan for COVID-19 mitigation that said workers need to either have the jab or natural immunity from a recent infection. I thought natural immunity didn't work. I hadn't read this far ahead in the article, and now I'm seeing that the U.S. government is just offered mitigation based upon back to the news. As a mission necessity to avoid post-arrival quarantine, volunteers must be able to provide a negative PCR test taken within 24 hours of arrival and meet one of the following conditions: jabbed or recovered within 6 months prior to arrival. Once deployed, members can expect to perform all assigned duties and may be required to work irregular shifts and schedules up to 7 days per week, including holidays and weekends, the memo cautioned, offering volunteers overtime pay. In no way, people, by bringing you this news, am I trying to minimize the humanitarian crisis that always comes from a war over in places like Ukraine. And obviously, we need to get our citizens out. I find it fascinating that he's so concerned with getting our citizens out of Ukraine when he wasn't that concerned with getting our citizens out of Afghanistan, okay? But we do need to pray for the people of Ukraine that are caught in the midst of some conflict of which most of us don't know all that much about. And I see a lot of comments, people talk about all the different things and Putin's really good and all that. I don't really think Putin's all that good. I don't know that he's all that bad. I don't know much about the guy. I will say this much: Klaus Schwab bragged about him being a WEF guy. So, there's that. Maybe that was just fake news to try to, I don't know. It's so, I don't trust hardly anything. I do trust a lot of John Solomon's reporting. That's why I bring this to you. But, right now, and I'll just bring you another quick report on the Ukrainian situation out of this. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday launched a special military operation against Ukraine, right? And he did this by land, by air, by sea. This also out of just the news. Now, they've announced all these sanctions. The U.S. stock market is down, but the Russian stock market is off by nearly half. Gas prices are on the rise. Brent crude, I know, topped $100 a barrel. I mean, all of this is going to have implications on you and I. Wheat prices doubled in Europe. Energy prices in Europe, I think, are up 40% or something. I mean, it's changing so fast, I can't keep up on it. My kids are actually managing some little stock portfolio for their homeschool just to understand the stock market and how that works. I don't really, I'm not big about investing in the stock market because most of these corporations are evil, but I want them to have this basic understanding as part of our curriculum. Anyways, but the bottom line is this is going to affect us in untold and many ways. Don't kid yourself for a second. And now, though, a bigger crisis is happening at our southern border with a communist up in Canada. And all of a sudden, we're supposed to divert our forces over to Ukraine. I mean, I don't know who thinks that's like honestly, we've got real problems here, okay? And again, I just, Russia puts out, okay, well, we have our concerns about them joining NATO, and I don't even think that would have happened. So I don't know what's going on. Again, everybody thinks, and they've got an opinion on what exactly everything means. All I know is what's happening. And I do have certain opinions that have been formed by thought and looking at different things. But, on this one, I'm just too far removed. So I really can't give you a bunch of insight. I was all in on Canada. All I care about was Canada. I mean, and the people having their rights abused up in Canada, and a trucker convoy that was uniting the world and still has united the world. And there's still brave fighters in Canada, New Zealand, and all over the place, okay? So anyways, that's my take on all that. Hey, Look at this 1776 hat. Isn't it great? You can get your own at lumberjacklogicshow.com. At least register your email over there. Again, I still have yet to send an email. All my listeners can vouch for that. I will only send an email when it's necessary. And, you know, things change over here, all right? You can also, by becoming a member of Locals, I get your email address and can send you that way as well. So anyways, thanks so much, folks. Keep fighting the good fight. Stay engaged. There's going to be massive winning coming up in 2022, and I've got a great report coming up on that next. Peace out. Subscribe if you haven't.